Hello and welcome to a SystmOne video. For today's training we'll be looking at how to implement a nutritional needs care plan from within the Doncaster Community Inpatient unit. Firstly, you will need to be in a patient's record. Currently I'm using a test patient to do this training video. I know this as in the top right hand side in the demographic box I can see the test patient's details. Once I've loaded the patient's record, using the clinical tree on the left hand side, I'm looking for the section which says clinical tools. In this section, you will need to right click onto the care plans node. You will now need to hover your mouse over the apply care plan template, and from the drop down list you will need to find nutritional needs. From the options provided, select appropriate for your patient. You will now have the Apply Care Plan Template pop-up box appear on your screen. What you need to do within this section is add a review date. You can either use the drop-down arrow where you will get the calendar face to select the date of the review, or you can use a keyboard shortcut, whereas if this review was to take place in 2 weeks' time, by entering 2W and pressing enter to pull in the date of the review. Underneath, it has also pulled in the referral for this patient. Once I'm happy with that, I can select OK. We have now applied the nutritional needs care plan to our patient. We know this as within the care plans node in the middle section, we can see the information we have just inputted. We will now be having a look at how to amend a care plan to suit the patient's individual needs. From within this middle column, where we've got an active care plan, we will need to right click onto this box, and from the drop down list, select Amend Care Plan. You will now be able to make any relevant amendments from within the Care Plan Designer tab. To amend the headings provided, you will need to highlight the appropriate section by left clicking. Once left clicking on the right hand side, these buttons have now become available. We can either add a new instruction, amend an instruction, or delete. Selecting amend instruction will load this new window up. We can either delete any notes that have already been prefixed in, and we can add by simply typing into this text box. Once all amendments have been made, select OK at the bottom. If new instructions need to be added to the patient's record, coming back over to the bottom right hand side, we can select new instruction, and here is where we can type in the notes which will be appropriate for this patient. For my example today, I'm just going to type in test, and coming down to the next section we have the responsibility. So using the drop down arrow we can select the appropriate personnel. Once that information has been recorded, we can select OK. We also have the option of deleting instructions, so again you would need to highlight the section above, and on the right hand side select delete instruction. As well as amending and deleting instructions, from within this screen you can highlight a section, and using the arrows on the right hand side you can move up and down as appropriate. Once you have finished making any amendments and adding new instructions, we need to move from the Care Plan Designer tab to the Care Plan Information tab by left clicking. From within this page we are going to be setting the visiting frequency. The following information is about all the specific times a care plan must be carried out through the course of the day. So what we're going to do now is set the visiting frequency. Where we can see the icon for frequency on the right hand side, we can see that nothing has been scheduled to visit just yet. So all we're going to do is left click onto the icon which says visiting frequency. We'll now have a new window appear, and what we need to do is insert a preferred time or a specific time that the patient must be seen throughout the day. So using these drop down arrows, once left clicking, we can either select minutes, hours, days or weeks, whatever is appropriate for your patient. So for my example today, I'm going to say that I'm visiting this patient every day. So jumping back into that drop down arrow, I'm going to select days, and on the left hand side I'm going to move it up to 1. Coming down this area, we've got an option which says preferred time, which is currently set as any. Using that drop down arrow again, we can select any of these options, and for my example I'm going to have specific times we go out to visit the patient. Now we've selected that option, we can use the button below which says set times. On the left hand side, this is where we can begin to pull in the times we're going to see the patient. So for my example today, I'm going to say that I'm going to go in the morning at 8 o'clock. Once I've inputted my time, I can select the plus symbol, and as you can see it is pulled into this middle column. And I'm also going to say that I'm visiting the patient at 4 o'clock as well. And again, we need to select that plus symbol. Once I've entered all the times I'm going out to see the patient, I need to select OK at the bottom. After setting the frequency for the patient, we now need to come down to the section which says usual carer. Using the drop down arrow, we can select the staff member as appropriate. And once we've filled in this section, we need to jump down to where it says estimated duration. We can either use the arrows provided, or we can simply type in how long we are going to see this patient for. Once we've filled in that information, we need to select the location. Currently I've got pulled in hospital outpatient. Using the drop down arrow, you can select as appropriate again. Now we have filled in all the relevant information, I'm going to select OK at the bottom. And once selecting OK, we've come back into the Care Plan Information tab. Once I'm happy with all that information, I'm going to select OK again. Now all the amendments have been made, I'm going to make a save on the patient record. So just as a recap, we have currently applied and amended the care plan. The next part of the process we are going to be looking at performing. Again, from within the care plans node, in this middle section where we've got our nutritional needs care plan, I'm going to right click into that box and using the drop down list provided, select perform care plan. The table has now opened up, and within this top section we need to ensure that the contact with, method, activity and duration fields have been entered. So currently mine's been prefixed in that I've had the contact with the patient and the method has been face to face. I've currently got the duration as 30 minutes, which I can change if appropriate, and to change the activity I can use the drop down arrow and select as appropriate. Underneath these sections we have some instructions. All you need to do in this area is tick what you have done. If there is an icon in the second row, these fields are linked into the patient templates. Complete these where possible. For example, within the first instruction where we've got way on the day of admission, we have also got a template attached. Left clicking onto that template. In this case we'll open the physical observations template. Once you've recorded that information, you can select OK at the bottom and you will come back into where you are performing the care plan. You will then need to click onto the notes icon for each tick section and insert appropriate notes regarding the specific action which has been completed. Inserted into the text box on my screen is an example of the type of information and the detail of information that is required to be recorded, i.e. for the document type and quantity of food and fluid at breakfast, appropriate notes would be as followed. Once all required tick boxes, templates and note box have been completed, click the main OK button to complete this section. Once this has been completed, we are now going to save the patient record. We are now going to look at viewing your performed care plan. Within the patient record, using the clinical tree, the node we are going to select is the tab Journal. And once within the tab Journal, as it is in date order with the most recent at the bottom, we can have a look at the information we have just inputted. It is also more obvious to see as the writing is in pink. If the information inputted is not shown in pink, then you have ticked on and completed the wrong boxes and need to return to the previous page. To view the patient's care plan, within the search box, type in Nutrition. Once you've typed that information in, select Enter. The tab Journal will now only show entries related to the search we have just performed. Right-click onto the highlighted plan and select View Care Plan Notes. This screen then opens up so you can review all notes related to the care plan. Once you are finished, select Cancel. At this point, I am going to save the patient record. For the next part of this training video, where we will be looking at care plan reminders within the to-do list screen on the ward view, we will be performing these actions within our SystmOne demo unit. So from the SystmOne home screen, you will need to select the ward view icon. And once selected, you will need to find your patient. When you found your patient within the bed status screen, you'll need to double click on the to-do list under the patient details. Once you have done this, the information screen opens up with outstanding care plans to be completed for the patient. To do this, click on the black arrow and perform the care plan. Once completed, press the close button.